don't need y'all to talk about us because we're going to talk about ourselves.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we're back again. Titans Tube here with you, Justin, with Jake, bringing you some more exciting, fast, wonderful Titans action. It's just constant, nonstop here. I think we did miss so we missed another week last week, Jake. The Jags came to town and beat us 10-6. That was great. That was what I don't remember. I don't remember what happened last week. It's hard to keep up with all the losses. They're stacking up good, though. Titans fall to the Bengals 37-27. Hey, 27. It's pretty good. It's a lot better than 6, so that was fun. Of course, Jake, you and your good friend from Dayton, Ohio, came down to share in the misery in person because you couldn't get enough of it just watching it on your TV. You couldn't get enough of that action. But hey, we had a good time, man. It's always fun to have you down here. Go and do a game. Gonna keep the tradition alive. Hopefully the team turns it around soon. But it was great. It was great having you. So that was a good silver lining for watching this Bengals team come in and get a win.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, thank you for being such a gracious host. At least, yes, as you alluded to, we got to see an entertaining game, Justin, in keeping up our December Titans game tradition. So, there was obviously Joe Burrow throws the interception on the first possession of the game. Luke Gifford comes up with it. Titans go down 7-0 just like that. And we're thinking, okay, we've seen this movie before. The Titans have led 7-0 in seemingly every single game we've played this year. And so then, of course, the Bengals go right down, get a touchdown of their own. And we're like, okay, interesting. And then here come the Titans. Go down the field. Tajay Spears holds the ball over in the Michael Jordan pose. Touchdown, 14-7. Okay, all right. We got a shootout in Nashville. And then the Bengals go down. And, of course, maybe Titans play of the year, Justin. T'Vondre Sweat rips the ball from Joe Burrow, picks it up, rumbling, stumbling, bumbling, stiff arms. I think it was Alex Kappa, if I'm not mistaken, on the Bengals offensive line. What an incredible play. Oh, my God. Gotta love the T'Vondre Sweat. And I turned to you, Justin, and I said, if this call stands and it wasn't, Joe Burrow wasn't down and the Titans keep this ball, we just might win. I mean, that is a play and an electric kind of lifting type play for a team who has had a big shortage of electric lifting type plays this year.
Yeah.
And well, that excitement was short-lived, Justin, because the Titans had a 14-7 lead. They did nothing with that turnover, and all of a sudden it was 31-14.
Mm-hmm.
And the wheels fell off as they do. Will Levis throwing interception after interception after interception gets benched for Mason Rudolph, Justin. And I guess that's where we can abandon the Bengals game. There wasn't much else to talk about other than Joe Burrow on the sideline saying, we should have beat these MFers by 50 points. And Joe Burrow, I have to agree with you, man. And it was an interesting clip to see him on the sideline like that. But all's well that ends well for the Cincinnati Bengals. They're still sneaky in the hunt. They have a long shot, but there is a shot for them. That Denver game against Cincinnati is going to be big for them. But alas, Justin, this is not Bengals Tube, it is Titans Tube. So I'm going to switch it back to you. What do you make of the Will Levis benching and the Will Levis benching going forward? Will Levis is presumably done for the year if Mason Rudolph doesn't get hurt. And that could be the sun setting on the Will Levis era in Tennessee. I mean, it was short. It started beautifully with fireworks and fanfare and Oilers jerseys, but it did not last, Justin.
No, it didn't. This is going to be the conversation that's been going on this week. We're recording this on Friday, but you all know that this is kind of the dialogue around the Titans for this upcoming week and probably for the rest of the season. Is has the team given up on Will Levis, not just for the season, but the season after that? And Titans kind of find themselves in a weird situation now, because what do you do at quarterback going into 2025? Do you go for a quarterback? How do you feel about this quarterback class coming out of college with a potentially top 5 pick? Which could be another topic of discussion here, Jake, is the Titans find themselves at pick 6 with 3 wins amongst 5 other teams with 3 wins, and then you got the Giants and the Raiders with 2 wins. So there's a lot of shuffling that's still to be determined in these last 3 games. So the Titans could potentially get a top 3 pick, or we could be nearing the 10th pick. It kind of just depends on how it shakes out. That final Jags game in a couple weeks is going to be big in determining some things. But anyway, the Titans, what are you going to be doing at quarterback going into next season? You kind of I'll be nice to Levis because, dude, he's out there. Like, love him or not, yes, he has played poorly. He had a middle few games when he seemed to correct the turnover issues. And he's made plays with his arm this season that make you go, man, yeah, that's a great throw. He has some talent there, but at the end of the day, he can't get over these back-breaking decisions. His pocket presence is at least still leaves a lot to be desired. But dude, he's out there, and this is what I'm trying to be nice to him, is that, dude, he's trying. This isn't a guy that's just like, I'm trying to think of an example, that's just kind of going through the motions and they're just mentally checked out. I believe Will Levis is trying to be the best quarterback he can be. He wants to be a franchise quarterback. He wants to be a leader out there. I think he was quoted this week saying something along the lines of, I still believe I can be a franchise quarterback, whether it's here or for somebody else. So he loves football. He loves playing. He loves, putting out. He wants to be the guy. He wants to. So I'll give him that. But you've got to produce on the field, obviously, at the end of the day. So I'm glad we don't have a lackluster, I don't give a crap anymore. I'm taking myself out of the game. Whoever Campbell or whoever that linebacker was for the 49ers, that's like, oh, I'm getting benched. I'm not going back in the game. Whatever. I don't care. Will Levis wants to be out there. He wants to be the guy. But it's not looking like it's worked out, Jake. This Bengals game, if you still had any glimmer of hope, really shut the door on a lot of things. 3 interceptions, Jake, and they're pretty ugly interceptions. Not reading the defense. I mean, if it's a receiver that's not being where he's supposed to be, a miscommunication, that's one thing. But it looks like it was a bad read by Levis, mistakes that could have been avoided, and another pick 6, Jake. I mean, I know we scored a touchdown as time expired, but you still look at that 10-point spread, and the pick 6 is such a significant play in a football game, and you can't just give a free touchdown to a team that has no problem scoring touchdowns on their own. So I think it's the right move, and unfortunately, the offense did pick it back up again when Rudolph went in there, so he could be the better option, but the bad part is that Rudolph is not a guy that you're like, well, let's see how he does these last 3 games. And it's not like a young up-and-coming rookie. If we had a Malik Willis out there his rookie year, or somebody else we drafted, we could see if there's something there that we can work with for the future. But everyone knows Mason Rudolph is your quintessential backup quarterback. And I don't think anyone's going to be rooting for Rudolph to be the starter in 2025. So it looks like the Titans are going to be starting from scratch at the quarterback position. And did you see the comments? And I'll end with this, but Brian Callahan's comment about making the change, and he said something like, you kind of want to give the rest of your team that feeling that we have a chance to win the game or something. And I read the quote. I didn't see it. I don't know if he knew exactly how that was coming across. Maybe he did mean it. He was like, yeah, Will Levis is destroying any hope for the rest of the players on the team. I want the rest of our team to think that we have a chance to win the game. And that's such a stab. It's a stab comments about your quarterback. But that, I don't know, it kind of made me laugh, but it kind of made me feel bad for Will.
Yeah.
God bless him. He's trying. He's doing his darndest out there, but he's not getting it done.
Sadly, Justin, I'm with you. I hear you every step of the way, but sadly, the NFL isn't for guys who try their darndest, and it's not for guys who really want to be a franchise quarterback. It's for guys who can go out there and actually make it happen. And that's funny. I did not see the Brian Callahan comment about giving guys hope that we can win the football game. But that's something I said, Justin. If you go back to week 5 or 6 this season, and I think Mason Rudolph came into that Miami game and won that game when Will Levis was hurt. And I said, listen, if you're serious about winning football games, it's not a crazy thought that Mason Rudolph gives you a better chance than Will Levis. Because I said it week 1 when he makes the absolute cannot do it pitch pass pick 6 to lose that game in Chicago. Straight up, that was the play that lost week 1. And I said, Justin, I'm sorry, I'm out. I'm out on Will Levis because that is going to be indicative. That is his decision-making process. It's hard to beat that out of somebody when they're hardwired. Will Levis is hardwired to flex his biceps and take chances and rip that thing down the middle, even though he's made his mind up where he's going with the football, and you're not going to change his mind. You're not going to get him to do reads. You're not going to get him to have good pocket presence because it's just not happening. It's just not happening. And I pulled up Will Levis's stats, and if the sun has set on the Will Levis era, he has finished with 20 games, 20 touchdowns. Okay, 1 touchdown a game. But 16 interceptions and 5 fumbles. So that is 1.1 turnover a game to 1 touchdown a game. And for a guy who was brought in to spread the offense, whip the ball down the field, modernize the Titans offense, become pass first, 1 touchdown, 1 turnover isn't getting it done. And, you look back to last season where he played 9 games. It was 8 touchdowns, 4 picks, which, okay, all right, rookie learning. And that's why we had a little bit of optimism coming into this season. And it was obvious from the jump. It's going to sink or swim with Will Levis. And that is what this season hinges on. You have talent on defense. You have obviously, you tried to fix the offensive line. It hasn't gone great, but you put wide receiver talent in the room, Calvin Ridley, D-Hop before the trade, and, it was going to be, all right, Will, go out there and show us. And he has responded with 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And
a lot of them going directly for touchdowns to the other team, too, like back-breaking. Like
3
how many
pick sixes, I think, if I remember correctly this year, the Bears, Houston, and obviously this weekend against the Bengals. But, it's just, even if you still believe in Will Levis, are you not using your eyeballs? Are you not watching the games? And he doesn't pass the eye test whatsoever. He passed the eye test, in the Oilers unis against the Falcons last year. And other than that, there's been throws, like you said, Justin. There was that throw in the Washington game that everybody wanted to show on Twitter and be like, oh, man, this is a dime. It's 28-0, you guys. It's 28-0, and you want to focus on this 1 2-minute warning dime to Calvin Ridley. Who cares? It's just not happening with Will Levis. So in my personal opinion, the sun is set. You can't re-rack. And especially when you're making comments like, we have to have a chance to win the football game. So you're putting your potential franchise quarterback on the bench because he doesn't give you a chance to win the football game it says everything. It says everything. And speaking of saying everything, Justin, I know we're kind of turning the book on Will Levis pretty quick in a hurry, but what do you make another Brian Callahan comment that's making the rounds on Twitter? He tells a reporter to shove that question up his ass, and we got some tough effers here and this and that. And he goes on a 2-minute rant when a reporter questioned that his team was soft at 3-11. 1, Justin, do you think the Tennessee Titans are soft? 2, do you think Brian Callahan is a tough football coach? And do you think what are your thoughts on that rant?
I think it's easy to label a team soft that's won 3 games. We don't seem to be that tough, physical, smack you in the mouth kind of Titans defense and running game. That's been the Titans franchise bread and butter ever since they got here. And this is not that same brand of football. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by soft. I mean, like mentally, I guess would be my assumption. Or are we getting bullied out there physically and getting players hurt? Is it a conditioning issue? I don't think so. Do we have any significant injuries? That's the sad thing. I don't know if we have any significant injuries. I guess it's fair. I don't. I mean, the team does seem maybe mentally soft. I don't know. We showed a lot of toughness, I thought, in the Houston game. Mm-hmm. It's easy to say that because we won the game, but we looked like a team that wasn't just going to be pushed around. We took some punches, but we punched right back, and we looked like a team that was going to play to the very last snap. But we've also seen Titans games where it does seem like they fold a bit in the second half. Once it starts raining, it starts pouring, and it goes from bad to worse. I don't know. I do like what I kind of like Callahan getting pissed and standing up for his team and his players, because that's kind of indictment on the players that you're coaching. And you have a different special kind of relationship with your players. And as a player, you want to see your coach being like, hell no, like, what are you talking? You obviously don't watch the games, blah, 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 whatever he said, because that's a load of this and that. Wasn't there another coach this year who said, like, we're soft? It was the Patriots coach, Gerard Mayo or something. And that was like, I would rather have Callahan had that response than Gerard Mayo. And maybe part of Mayo's response was to fire up his players, to fire up his team. But that can also backfire. That can also have players kind of turn your back on you. And I think for a coach that's already pretty much under the hot seat, like Callahan, you don't want to throw your players under the bus and agree with a random reporter's comments. I mean, you want to keep your job. You want to keep the players on your side as much as you can. So you're going to stick up for them. But as a coach, we kind of touched on that last time a little bit. It's like he's not the Vrabel brand of no nonsense. So I don't know. He's a different breed. He's the offensive minded. He's not the raw, fire him up, tough as nails kind of personality of a coach that Vrabel is. But you look at Matt LaFleur, he's an offensive coach, and he's not going to be your rallying leader and get you pumped up. He's the nerd X's and O's gonna fire some stuff at you, and like the Dolphins coach,
McDaniel.
Not McDaniel, exactly. Yeah. It's just his style. I don't think he's the tough as nails style coach, but that doesn't have to be how your team plays on the field. I don't know. I guess that's kind of my jumbled thoughts here and there. It's fair to say that, but I also like how Callahan responded, if you get my meaning.
I agree. Here's my thing, Justin, and obviously we're going to compare Callahan to Mike Vrabel till the cows come home, because you got rid of a top 10 NFL coach despite, I know, 2 losing seasons in a row. I get it. But very obviously a top 10 coach, and the majority, 9 out of 10 players who played for Mike Vrabel love Mike Vrabel and went out there and played hard no matter what. They didn't have the guys a lot of the time, but God, he tried and squeeze every last drop of juice out of that lemon, and he was damn good at it.
Yeah. And
so I'm going to go back to last year, Justin. You got to go in the memory banks a little bit. Mike Vrabel had a similar press conference about this time in the year, and it was about, how do we keep motivation? How do you, it's a lost season. What is it? And it was like, when your dad busts in the room and because he goes, it fucking sucks to lose. All right. Yeah. And you felt that, you felt it, oh shit.
Dad's pissed.
He's like, is that enough? Losing is awful. It fucking sucks. And I believed Mike Vrabel when he said that. Fired me up. I was like, oh, that was real fire.
Yeah.
I like the words that
We
Brian
feel you.
Callahan said, but there's just something to it that I don't believe in. Like it wasn't that same energy. It wasn't that same sharp uh I mean, the room goes quiet. You could drop a pin. Paul Kuharski's afraid to ask the follow-up question after Mike Vrabel says something like that. But Brian Callahan is just not the intimidating guy that Mike Vrabel was. And so while I like the words, I like I don't even think I can call it fire, Justin. Like I know, like, everything going around Brian Callahan, fiery rant, Brian Callahan, expletive laced rant. It's still just didn't cut the same. Like when he's saying these swear words and saying shove it up your ass, it's almost like he's like forcing it. Or like, I need to look tough because my team's softness was good to question. So I'm gonna throw out a bunch of swear words in this rant. Like I know he probably feels that way. I know he probably was pissed off by the question. But there was something there that I didn't believe. It didn't cut the same way Mike Vrabel's effing sucks to lose. It didn't have the same impact in its delivery. And I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Callahan hire when it happened. And I'm having a hard time letting go of that Mike Vrabel signature toughness when we're trying to recreate it with this mishmash and loss of identity. And we're just, it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel real. It felt real with Mike Vrabel, whether we were 6-11, whether we were 7-10, losing at an incredible clip. We're losing at an incredible clip now, Justin, and we don't have that identity even. We got rid of that identity for whatever this is. Yeah. And I know I said it earlier, you sunk or swim with Will Levis. And obviously we're at the bottom of the ocean with the Titanic right now, Justin, and it's not great. But there was just something to that. Like it brought a smile to my face. I like seeing that from Brian Callahan, but there was just something missing. Yeah. The real passion missing. And so I don't know where I stand on Cal. Like even after that, I feel like I should be more fired up. But I feel like there's much like everything on Titan social media, there's two camps and it's pretty 50-50 in that, fire them up, Callie, let's go, not soft. And then the other side where I think I am just on my personal reaction to the clip, okay, it kind of feels like you're trying to be macho versus where Mike Vrabel just was, he just is. Whereas Brian Callahan's trying to put on this tough guy mask. I'm going to say swear words.
It's a great point. It seemed like Callahan had to step outside of himself, outside of his natural character to do that, where that's who Mike Vrabel was whenever he's going on those rants. So I get what you're getting at. That's a good point to bring up. And I'm trying to think of these, our coaches of the past, and I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but you have Callahan coming in here, who doesn't seem like historically he's kind of not been the mold of. We've had a certain mold of Titans coaches that have come through here. You look at Jeff Fisher.
His name is Mike.
You got to be Mike. Or Jeff, we love Jeff Fisher here down in Tennessee. But like Jeff Fisher, he was a smaller guy, but you know what? He played in the NFL. He knows, these coaches that have played in the NFL, Mike Munchak, dude, another tough as nails kind of guy who was a great Hall of Fame player. And then you have Mike Vrabel, great tough as nails guy. Borderline, I mean, maybe Hall of very good, but a championship player for the Patriots, very good player in the NFL. Even Mike Mularkey played in the NFL. And I don't know, because you do have successful NFL coaches that have never played in the NFL, but is there a different kind of attitude or maybe respect, if you want to use that word, from playing under a guy that kind of relates to that day-to-day grind as a player and making an NFL roster and actually doing the thing? Maybe that could be part of it. It certainly helps. But since Callahan hasn't been there and he's been losing, it's kind of hard to believe the fiery rant, and maybe there's kind of a lack of relatability. Maybe I'm just maybe kind of grasping at straws a little bit, but I guess my point is that he hasn't really been the mold of coach that we've seen historically as the Tennessee Titans franchise. Well, we also don't have a Super Bowl, Jake, so maybe we could go away from that mold. Maybe that would help.
That's a great point, Justin. That's a great point.
But because that's what we were kind of trying to do. Like, let's go. We got to go back to the offensive-minded coach. These are trending right now. Modern day offense, modern day, style of coach. So we tried that, and it does and can work, but we're maybe seeing that Callahan maybe isn't that guy who can lead an NFL football team. We've thrown this around, and he doesn't look ready. I mean, maybe he will. He's a young guy. Maybe he needs more experience, and just kind of taking on the load that an NFL coach does. But I like what you said. It's more out of character to see him do something like that, where it would come more naturally to a Vrabel or a Munchak or someone like that the Titans have had in the past.
Yeah, it just sucks. That's all I have. It just sucks. Like,
it sucks. Bad times.
We had such a beautiful, amazing era right in our hands, and we kind of got lucky. Ryan Tannehill falls right in our lap.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel, I can't remember that coaching cycle very well, but I feel like a couple other teams maybe passed on him and he felt I could be wrong there, but it just felt like you didn't know what you were getting with Mike Vrabel, especially early. And then, the proof of concept was there almost immedately because Mike Vrabel's coaching debut was the 9-hour Miami delayed game. So you couldn't put that on that. But then the Titans come home and they have nobody. Their entire offensive line is decimated. They're starting Blaine Gabbert at quarterback against the then mighty Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson. And you saw it. They won that game, Justin. You saw Mike Vrabel squeeze the lemon, get the drops out of it, and win a football game.
Yep.
We haven't seen that all season from Brian.
Gutting out a win when the cards are down.
Absolutely. Exactly.
We did that all the time with Vrabel. Remember, was Vrabel also the coach when we went to Jacksonville early in the season and won 9-6?
Yep.
We benched, I guess it was Gabbard, and then a hobbled Mariota came back into the game. And led us to a couple field goals maybe, and we gutted out a win against a Jacksonville team that might have been that season after.
Correct. I think it might have been. I think you're right. It was that first season, but that's what you had the proof of concept within the first 5 weeks of the season. You said, okay, you saw the Houston game, loved that. The Titans had no chance in hell at winning that game. They go out gutsy win. And they just started stacking these wins, and they had the Philadelphia win in overtime, and you saw it. Even though they were 9-7, again, great. Oh, we rolled our eyes. They're 9-7 again. Whoop-de-doo. But you saw what the Vrabel regime was capable of. You saw the toughness. You didn't have to question it from a reporter. You saw it with your own two eyes. And so far, I mean, what are we? 3-11, 14 games into the Brian Callahan era. You have not seen it. You really frankly got lucky in Houston with Fairbairn missing the chip shot field goal. I think if that game goes to overtime, the Titans lose. And, CJ Stroud runs out of the back of the end zone and oh my God, you saw Brian Callahan jump with joy when the field goal was missed. Holy shit, we're going to win one. And and your other two wins are the hapless Miami Dolphins starting Tyler Huntley and the New England Patriots, who are worse than you are, and maybe softer. The head coach called them soft.
That's right. Yeah.
There's no proof of concept with these Titans. There's no identity. There's little to no toughness. I mean, and like I said when I started this rant, it just sucks. It just sucks.
I didn't think
threw away that era of toughness and grittiness and gutting out wins. And even though it wasn't going to be pretty or flashy or have highlights on ESPN, you were playing winning football, and now you don't have anything.
Yeah, it's like the mentality is back to when maybe the Wizenhunt days, where even if we started out good, we have a good first half, you're just knowing it's a matter of when. When is the collapse happening? And that's happened time and time again this season. Whereas, with Vrabel, it was like we have a knack for hanging around and then pulling it out in the end. We may start slow, but I'm still going to watch because we're not going to get run off the field. And now it's more looking to be that way where you expect to kind of see that letdown. And it's kind of surprised. We've done it 3 times. It would be surprising to see the Titans, on top at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. That's what's so frustrating too, is that Callahan inherited a slumping Vrabel team, lost key pieces. Derrick Henry, Danico Autry, Azeez Al-Shaair had a great year for us, but we did bring in guys, and we spent a lot of money to not let the roster completely fall apart and be totally devoid of talent. And he took a bad, with a 6-win team to half of that so far this year. We're even worse under Callahan. And I did not expect a 3-win team this year, Jake. I thought we might be pushing 500, maybe eking out a playoff berth in a weaker division, the AFC South. I mean, of course, everyone has high expectations going into the year, but I didn't see 3 wins, this far into the season, Jake. And that does suck, as you say. This season sucks, man. I'm getting pissed off.
UGLY. We ain't got no alibi, Justin. It's been ugly. It's been ugly.
I've heard that in a long time.
Ooh, we're ugly. Ooh,
we're ugly. Yeah.
But anyways, alas, we got 3 more games, all divisional games. We could play spoiler for the Colts, maybe, just maybe. The Houston. I think Houston's got the division locked up at this point.
They'll probably play for nothing. We could get a game of backups.
We'll see. We're in tank mode right now, Justin, and it sucks to be there as a fan. And
how much time do we have, Jake?
5 minutes.
Okay. Let me squeeze this in. I'm tired of talking about this team, but just because of the circumstances here, Jake, we have the college football playoff this year. My home state, Tennessee, going up against your hometown, Ohio State. Not saying you're an Ohio State fan, but I don't know. I know I just completely transitioned over here. If you want to give your take, Ohio State Buckeye fans are ready to destroy Ryan Day and get him out of the state. But could Tennessee come in and ruin the party?
You shouldn't have got me started on this, Justin. This is the quick college football minute for Titans Tube. I told you when we came down this past weekend, Justin, that Ohio State lost to Michigan. You want to talk about a good parallel? Ohio State is not a tough team. And Michigan has whittled their way into Ryan Day's brain into thinking that he has to prove himself and be tough. And it's just like Brian Callahan. It's the exact same thing. When Ryan Day comes on, he's like, I would love to know where Lou Holtz is. We're a tough team. Ohio was tough. You don't believe him. You're like, this guy's a cornball. I don't believe you because the proof of concept isn't there. And Michigan built a formula to outlast Ohio State. If we're going to get in a dogfight, we're going to win this game. And Ryan Day played right into their hands. And I told you, Justin, it was the worst Ohio State football loss in my life. I've watched a lot of Ohio State football being an Ohio native. It encompasses the whole state. It's an entire aura. And it was the worst loss in my lifetime I've seen. And Ohio State fans have their pitchforks and torches ready to burn down the horseshoe, but they have to get off the mat and play your Tennessee balls, Justin. They have to get off the mat, and they're playing for a national championship, and fans are like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're done. And that is absolute bullshit. That is horrible. That's bad fan. That's a bad fandom. That's a bad fan move to have that mentality. Justin, that being said, there's just always something in me that believes in the Buckeyes to win because they've won my whole life. I've got the Buckeyes by 4 points in the horseshoe. It's going to be cold. It's going to be a very Midwestern football game. And I know it gets cold in Knoxville. The difference is, Justin, we sat in Nissan Stadium, which I know is far away from Knoxville. I get it. But we sat in Nissan Stadium and it was 50 degrees on Sunday. It's been snowing all morning here in Ohio. We're just a little it's just a little bit different. I'm not claiming to be a Green Bay or a frozen tundra by any means, but I think hopefully the Buckeyes can outlast it, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm so looking forward to watching that game. You know,
It's a great,
I'm
great
a
matchup.
Buckeye at heart, but I'm not a diehard fan by any stretch of the imagination. Don't lump me in with those fanatics. You know, I'm not that guy.
All
But I
right.
watch a lot of Ohio State football, and I cannot wait to watch that game on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, two storied programs that who never really see each other at all. You know, we had a bowl game. Peyton Manning. Did you know Peyton Manning and Eddie George played in one of the big
Wow,
bowls in the
I did not
'90s?
know that.
I think it was Eddie's Heisman year in '96 or something. And he had Eddie George had the worst game of the season that game, and Tennessee ended up winning. But anyway, yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. I hate the matchup for Tennessee. I thought it was a bad matchup. I mean, it's fair in terms of seeding, I think. I thought Tennessee could have snagged that home field advantage, but that's a tough task to go into Columbus, your first playoff game. I feel like the Buckeyes are going to win it. I think it's going to be low scoring. Maybe Nico and I can't remember the coach's name, the Tennessee's coach's name, but if they can dial up a few big plays throughout the game and manage to make it happen, Tennessee's got a chance. But just a tough matchup. I'm praying Tennessee gets the win, but yeah, we'll see what happens. There's going to be a lot of pissed off Ohio State players and coaches on the hot seat, so they're going to be ready. I think they're going to be ready to play. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be a great game. Can't wait to watch it. And that was the Titans Tube College Football Minute. I love it, Justin. Way to sneak it in with just 5 minutes left there. I'm going to go like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank y'all for sticking around in what has been a sucky season. We appreciate y'all so much. Justin, I appreciate you. We will see you in the next one.